Chapter 10 The Big Show. The circus area grew quiet in the afternoon. The fairground stalls were locked and shrouded in canvas. The animals fed, watered, and left to rest after their arduous all-night traveling and morning rehearsals. Most of the performers returned to their caravans, pulled down the blinds, and slept. The only real activity was at the entrance tent where tickets were sold for the circus performances. Police patrolled the road outside the ground, keeping traffic on the move past the endless stream of cars parked while the drivers went to buy tickets. But all other preparations were completed, and the circus folk paused to draw breath before the opening of the big show that evening. Polo was with friends. Terry and Rosa had driven off somewhere in her car. Clapper had been given a lift into Chichester to take a number of free tickets to his uncle and aunt. Joey decided to stay behind and spend a couple of happy hours helping Marcus Fane brush and comb the coats of the chimp family, including Benny, the baby chimp who had taken a great liking to Joey. "Benny likes children," said Marcus Fane. "Most chimps do, but a baby chimp thinks they're more like himself." "Are they all as intelligent?" Joey asked. "No more than all human beings are intelligent. Benny will be a star quite soon. He's so quick to learn. His mother is very intelligent too, but his father is just plain dense. He won't concentrate, that's his trouble. Chimps have their own little ways, just like humans. Some are naturally naughty, some are polite, some are sulky, some are happy. It takes all sorts to make a chimp world." "Shouldn't Benny be having his nap now?" "Yes, he should, but he slept all the way here, so he's too lively. Why not take him for a walk, Joey?" Joey jumped at the chance to do this, and Benny seemed to like the idea too. They had great fun running in and out of the various tents and stalls. Then on the way back, Joey went into the prop tent to see how all the props for each act were laid out in the correct order to be taken into the circus ring. He lifted the sides off his own box and showed it to Benny. "That's where I do my vanishing trick," Joey told the chimpanzee. Benny hopped inside the box. He joggled about, swinging his arms and grinning. Then suddenly, Benny's arm hit the spring-loaded panel, and Benny disappeared. Joey almost panicked. He knew an emergency switch was hidden in the fancy edging of the box, but he couldn't remember its exact position. He could hear Benny thumping his paws inside the false lining. Then Joey realized that he was on the wrong side of the box. He dashed around to the other side, pressed the switch, and out chopped Benny. Joey grabbed the chimp. Benny nibbled Joey's nose, then yawned happily. On the way from the prop tent, Joey passed the Orsini brothers, carrying in some equipment. He had the feeling that they had been watching him, but they smiled and their manner was pleasant enough. By the time Joey reached Marcus Fane's quarters, Benny was fast asleep. Joey handed over the baby chimp and went back to the carouette, where he fell asleep himself. Later, Clapper clomped in, followed by Polo and Terry, to wake Joey for an early supper. "Only a light meal," said Polo, because it was bad for any performer to eat a big meal before doing his act. The nervous strain often made him feel sick. The fairground music started up while they were eating, and in a few minutes, crowds of people entered the grounds to visit the roundabouts and dodgem cars, the big wheel, and all the fun of the fair. The village of magic and make-believe had come to life. The animals were being groomed and dressed in their harness. The clowns were painting their faces and donning their baggy suits. The ringmaster and performers, the mansmen, the program sellers, the ice cream vendors, all were making ready to play their part. In the carouette, Terry, Joey, and Clapper were putting on their makeup, supervised by Polo. Then came a knocking on the carouette door, which opened to disclose the grinning face of one of the circus cowboys. 10 minutes to parade time! 10 minutes, he yelled, and disappeared. "That's it, my laddies," said Polo. "Let's go." Hurrying towards the big top, aware of interested glances as people recognized these were actually performers, feeling slightly proud and not silly as Joey had thought he would feel in public, assembling with the other artists, hearing the band playing, and the buzz of voices from hundreds of throats as the audience slowly filled the seats under the big top. Then the ringmaster, in his scarlet coat, top hat, white breeches, and shiny boots, standing under one white, glaring spotlight, bellowing in thunderous tones. "Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Custer's Mammoth Spectacle Circus presents, for your entertainment and enjoyment, The one, the only, the greatest of them all, the big show. The drums rolled, the trumpets sounded. The circus ring sprang to dazzling light. The clowns bounded forward, leaping, tumbling, vaulting. Behind them marched the colorful parade of performers. Once around the ring, then exit. Joey and Clapper a part of it all. Suddenly, as if they were all different people, as if they really were the sons of the East. The magic entered into them, and the clapping hands of the audience was an exhilarating sea of sound which stirred the blood and made the feet want to dance and leap. And for the first time, both boys felt something of the purpose of the performer, the purpose reborn with each new audience, to give his best, to thrill, to amuse, to make happy the peoples of the world. The parade ended. The acts began their displays of skill and daring, filling their allotted time in the program, taking their bow and running out of the ring as the next act entered. Fast, brilliantly timed, immaculately rehearsed, the big show sped on its way. And then, as if in a dream, the ring was theirs. Terry and Clapper ran in. The act of Sindhu the Hindu had begun. Ripples of laughter as each comic part was successfully enacted. A sudden silence as a special piece of magic held the audience in suspense, followed by a mighty wave of applause. More laughter, more applause. Then Polo's voice over the loudspeakers. "Ladies and gentlemen!" Joey marched into the ring. The shock was tremendous. Row upon row of blobs were all around him. Faces of people. The lights hurt his eyes. The warmth made him gasp. His mind almost ceased to function. But the hours of practice came to his aid. Clapper stood at his side. "Cheese!" said Clapper. "Cheese!" But Joey kept his own face sternly without expression. The drums rolled softly, beating a pulse over the now silent audience. Joey stepped into the box. The attendants lifted it onto the wire. As the sides were clipped on, Terry whispered, "Fine, Joey, it's going fine." The box began to slide down the wire. The drums became louder. Joey jabbed his elbow. The panel gave way. But there was a sudden scrambling and pulling, and Joey nearly fainted with fright. Something else was in the box, too. Then the panel slid shut. The box stopped. The sides were removed. And in space, which should have been empty, stood Benny the baby chimp, scratching himself. "We've been tricked," Joey heard Terry's voice. "Get on with the act just the same. Alley-oop!" The sides went on again. The audience roared with laughter. A great, surging, happy roar which beat down upon the now perspiring Terry and Clapper. Inside the box, Joey struggled frantically to release the spring. He eased out into the arms of Benny, who cuddled him like a long-lost chum. "Oh, golly me," Joey gasped. "I haven't time to get you back in there. Who put you in?" He could feel the box swinging to the end of its run at the other mast. It stopped and was lifted down. The sides opened. Joey crawled out with Benny in his arms. Clapper, with a master stroke of comedy, put Joey's turban on Benny's head. The audience shrieked with delight. The applause was deafening. "Bow and run," said Terry urgently. They bowed. Benny lifted the turban as if in salute. It was a natural act for the chimp to grab whatever was on his head, but the audience thought he'd been trained to do this and yelled their approval. Marcus Fane met them at the exit of the ring. "You might have asked my permission, Terry," he said, "but it was a great idea. Just great." They scattered to one side as the Liberty horses galloped into the ring. Polo rushed up to them. He grabbed their hands and pumped their arms. "A winner, laddies!" he yelled. "A super splendiferous winner! Nearly stopped the show!" Terry looked dazed. "Yes," he said weakly. "Yes, it did." There stood aside as Rosa, more beautiful than ever in her white spangled costume, threw her arms around Terry. "You're a real artist, Terry Mio," she cried and kissed him. "Oh gosh," Terry exclaimed. "I didn't know about Benny." "But I knew," said Rosa. "That's what made you so wonderful. You carried it off and turned a failure into success. That wicked Orsini put Benny into the box to make her act fail. I found it too late to tell you." He did them a good turn, said Marcus Fane. Terry and I can work up a fine act. No one's heard of a vanishing chimp before. He shook Joey and Clapper by the hand. You must have had a terrible shock, but you played your parts like real troopers. We'll do it every performance this week, said Polo. First thing tomorrow, we start rehearsing the new act. Oh no, the boys chorused. No more work. I like your sons, said Rosa to Terry. They would make good circus people too. Could you really think so? Clapper asked eagerly. Then he put his clumsy foot right into it by adding, When are you going to marry the poor chap? Rosa looked startled. Oh, very soon, I think, she said shyly. Good, said Clapper. I don't fancy doing all this flippin' work for nothing, you know. Fair's fair, ain't it, Joey? But Joey couldn't answer at once. He saw the expression on Terry's face and roared with laughter. He's gone again, Joey spluttered to Polo. Gone for good this time. But Terry heard and saw only his beloved Rosa, who led him gently away. Polo sighed as he watched them go, then put his hands on Joey's and Clapper's shoulders. Suddenly, a white dove appeared on each boy's shoulder. That's not a bad trick, said Joey. Not bad, Polo exclaimed. Laddie, it's marvelous. Have you no appreciation? Yes, said Joey. I think you're the finest magician in all the world. Ah, the truth at last. Thank you, Joey. End of chapter 10. End of Joey and the Magician.